We have Ashley with us, who's going to give us practical steps of how to evaluate an organization's purpose. How does it align with you? And if they're making impact, how do you actually measure that impact? So Ashley, thank you so much for being with us again this week.
I'm excited.
So when we're talking about purpose, and we're talking about in the nonprofit space specifically, because nonprofits are set up that are purpose-driven versus profit-driven.
Absolutely.
What's some advice you could give to somebody who's interested in getting involved in their community? Mm-hmm. They know what the area is that they want to support, mm-hmm. but now they have 10 different nonprofits to look at. Could you walk somebody through kind of how to sift through?
Absolutely. So when you think about the work of a nonprofit and the impact, as you mentioned, it's really diving deep into what you were aligning yourself with. So in doing the research and looking up these nonprofits and seeing their community impact, in looking at it on another level, which is more deeper, because now that you've actually identified, say, 5 nonprofits that you want to become connected with or you like their work, it's really understanding what the scope of their work has been and how it's impacted the community, because again, you don't want to be everything to everyone. So in diving deep to understand that they have actually identified 3 to 5 areas of scope and of impact of how they're wanting to change the community for better. What does that look like? Are they financially fiscal? Are they responsible? What does their team look like? And taking a deeper dive into understanding the organizational team, the organizational leadership team, executive board, you really have to hone in on those things because, again, it's something that you're becoming connected to. And are they seen in a good light in the community? Because although they are a community organization, are they community, which is a representation of everyone, and so when you look at the scope of work in that realm, it will start to make more sense to you of, what, there's just something about that organization. I want to reach out now that I've done my work, I've done my research on what the impact has been in the community, from their organization. I now have a better understanding.
So what are some red flags when you're going through and aligning yourself with whatever the cause is or organization? Mm-hmm. What are some red flags to you when you're going through that will just stick up and say, I line through?
Absolutely. So many nonprofit organizations have a strategic plan, and this is all made available on their websites. It should be, and those who are in good position will have that available. But what you want to take a look at is their year to year overviews of the impact that's been made, where their money is going. And so it's really important that especially nonprofit who can receive, federal funds and different things like that, when a donor becomes connected to an organization, and you are a donor. When you are becoming connected, you are contributing to that organization's success. And so what that looks like is really honing in on finances. Where are they representing themselves well? And so turnover. You have to look at that as well, mm-hmm. because when you are bringing on qualified employees and then those qualified employees are leaving, you have to look at the reasons and why. And so are they able to maintain a team who is pushing their mission further along, or do they have some things that stand out more readily available than the others? So really looking at their finances, their team, their mission. Are they one to keep changing their mission? And so that often brings about worry and concern, because again, you're trying to be everything to everyone. And when that happens, then you're actually failing the organization. So those are things to look at.
So what I'm hearing is nonprofits, even though they want to do good, mm-hmm. they still need to be vetted as if they're for-profit companies.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
nonprofits that don't treat their employees mm-hmm. with respect or with appreciation, it's very difficult to understand how can that nonprofit actually help the community. when they can't even keep their own house in order.
Absolutely. And that's really important. What I've seen actually in my career, 15 plus years in nonprofits, is I've seen that turnover. I've been one of those employees. Mm-hmm. This is an opportunity to be very transparent. I've been one of those employees. So when you are losing who you need and who values the grassroots work, in nonprofits, you are losing a huge piece of the organization. And so you want to be known as an organization who takes care of their own. And in taking care of their own, you're taking care of community, because it may be one thing to hear about the inside. What does the outside look like? Talk to those who are heavily involved in the community to hear their perspectives. You know, get the feedback, because they'll tell you and it will come out. And so you just have to be very cautious of that.
Right. Practical advice for athletes that have a level of celebrity, but you always have those, lack of better words, moochers. They either have something that they're just trying to put you out front. You're the shiny toy to be put out. You're the commodity that they want to leverage. Athletes like that. People like to be wanted.
Right.
So if you're an athlete that with social media, right? People know what your causes are, they know what your platforms are, and you're being approached by nonprofits that want to leverage your sizzle, they want to leverage your celebrity. What are some questions the athlete could ask of the nonprofit?
And I think this comes back to understanding your value, because I think that next season, once you retire or you no longer are in the playing capacity, is in understanding your value. As you're approached, the question should be, what about me stood out to you? Tell me about how my journey has been, in the sense of you've done your homework on me. You want me to become connected. You want me to share the value of my platform. What is it about me that you love? Not like, love. That lets you know that they've done their homework. They see you as an opportunity to become connected to something great, because you're great. So it's really understanding that value, the V word, it really stands out in this opportunity or this platform, you know, to understand that they've connected to you, but have they done their homework on you? Because that's where you're going to feel the most value.
Right, and that gets back to purpose, the why. And when you ask the right questions, you can figure out if somebody wants you for something you have or for who you are. And I think, you know, living in Vegas, you know, breaking even is winning here. And so it should be a give and a take. And that's what makes the economy run. I mean, that's just what makes human interactions run, is that. So in closing, right, we're talking about purpose. We're talking about getting out and really evaluating, kind of with fresh eyes, the opportunities and the causes that are there. What piece of advice would you give to somebody who's in the space of, I don't know. I know I want to give. I don't know where to start. I don't know.
Value in your gifts. If you understand your value, which, looking back over, say, your career, to say, this is what I was doing, this is how I know to become invested in my community. Now it's taking the step, as the infamous Dr. Martin Luther King would say, without even seeing the staircase. You have to understand that when you take that next step, you may not have all of the questions, but you have a seed that is to be sown in your community. And what does that look like? It's connecting with the like-minded. It's not just reaching out to say, oh, I'm just going to put my hands or all my eggs in one basket. It's actually, no, it's becoming connected to greatness, because you've led a life that is inspiring to others. Now, what do I do from here? So really taking that step of faith, or that leap of faith, not even seeing all of the next say, parts of that journey, but it's in you. You're inspired. Now it's time to execute, to be able to give back to a community that you are a valuable piece of.
Right. Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ashley, thank you so much for the advice and the insight to helping us align ourselves with purpose and really affect our community in a positive way.
My pleasure.